Jim Jones, Styles P, let's talk about it. Verzuz started out as how much body of work you got, how many dope-ass singles you got, right? Then it grew and progressed into having levels to this shit. It's sort of like boxing. You think you're gonna mash somebody the out until them lights come on, it's a different story. Styles P said, I'm a barsmith. It's levels to this shit. Meaning, look, I can go on my bag with singles, but I can also go on my bags with body and shit. Far as freestyles. Can Jim Jones do that? Maybe he can. Have people seen Jim Jones do that? No, they haven't.
All you gotta do is pull up here. You know, you wanna join me? Pull up and join me. You know what I'm saying? Pull right up here and you can join me. I'm on live.
The day Jadakiss and Styles P clapped back at Jim Jones live on air wasn't just funny, it was savage. The Harlem rapper tried to save face after the Dipset versus the LOX battle. But what started as a simple debate turned into a lyrical beatdown that had the whole hip-hop world cracking up and nodding in respect. The LOX reminded everybody why their names still ring bells in New York. That raw street dominance mixed with pure skill. Let's take it back to that unforgettable night when Dipset and the LOX went head-to-head on Verzuz. It was meant to be a celebration. Harlem swagger versus Yonkers grit, Flash versus bars. Fans everywhere called it one of the biggest moments in New York rap history. A real battle for the crown. But once those mics came on, things got wild fast. The LOX didn't step in to perform, they came to conquer. Jadakiss had that insane control and energy, while Styles P brought the kind of raw hunger that only real MCs have. The crowd was losing it. Meanwhile, Dipset looked scattered, rapping over backing tracks, talking over each other, and leaning way too hard on chains and old memories instead of performance. Then came that moment, when Jadakiss dropped the "Who Shot Ya" freestyle. The second he hit that verse, the energy flipped instantly. He told the crowd, "We in New York, man. This is real rap." And the whole room exploded. You could literally see Jim Jones's confidence slipping. Dipset tried to come back with some hits, but by then, the damage was done. They got flat out outclassed in front of the whole culture, and everyone saw it. After all that public embarrassment, Jim Jones tried to do what he's known for, talk his way out of the heat. A few days later, he popped up on a radio show trying to explain away the loss, saying, "We wasn't prepared like them. They rehearsed. We just came to have fun, but nobody was buying that. Not the fans, and definitely not Jadakiss or Styles P." And guess what? They just happened to call into that same radio show while Jim was still talking. That's when things got real awkward and real funny. Jadakiss jumped on the line and went straight for it, saying, "Ain't no excuses, bro. You got cooked. We came to work. Y'all came to pose." The whole studio froze for a second. Even the host was cracking up trying to hold it together. Then Styles P jumped in and twisted the knife, laughing, "Y'all Harlem dudes had matching outfits but forgot the lyrics." Everyone in the studio lost it. The laughter was loud and wild. Everyone except Jim.
They asked me how I felt about what was said about me on another platform from some other people. You know, I'm not a troublemaker.
You could hear the frustration in his voice, even though he tried to keep it cool, saying it was all friendly competition. But the damage was already done. What made that on-air moment sting so much wasn't just the words, it was the tone. Jadakiss and Styles P weren't attacking him like enemies. They spoke like big brothers, reminding him he slipped, and that's what made it hurt the most. They didn't need to yell or curse. The calm confidence said it all. They were calm, confident, and surgical with every word. Pure control, no wasted breath. Jadakiss looked straight into the camera and said, "Y'all thought this was a fashion show. We thought it was hip-hop." That one line, instantly iconic. Social media went crazy. Memes, reaction videos, TikToks, and endless quotes flooded every timeline. People were still replaying that moment months later because it was that legendary. Jim tried to fire back with, "We had the bigger hits though," but it didn't land. Styles P hit him with a response so clean it shut the whole argument down. "You can't out-hit bars, bro. You can't dress your way out of defeat." Cold-blooded. Every time Jim opened his mouth, the LOX came back sharper, calmer, and more confident. They weren't arguing. They were schooling him. You could tell this wasn't just about pride, it was about defending real hip-hop. The internet went off that day. Fans flooded the comments, saying stuff like, "Jim got humbled twice, once on stage, once on air." Others were posting, "Dipset made New York look soft." The LOX brought that hunger back. And honestly, they weren't wrong. That Verzuz wasn't just entertainment, it was a moment. For the LOX, it was a full-on rebirth. Jadakiss turned into a living legend overnight, and Styles P reminded everyone exactly why he's one of the most respected MCs to ever touch a mic. For Jim Jones and Dipset, that night exposed something way deeper: the difference between image and authenticity. The truth is, Jim's always been more about style than bars, more about flash than focus. Harlem is famous for its flair, the outfits, the attitude, the smooth talk, but when it's time to prove skill, the flash don't save you. The LOX stepped in with pure discipline, tight chemistry, and that unshakable loyalty built over decades. Dipset, they came with ego, nostalgia, and too much pride. That's why the LOX didn't just walk away with a win, they walked away with the culture's respect. After that radio embarrassment, Jim tried to patch things up. He hit Instagram saying, "It's all love. New York won either way, but everyone knew what that was. Straight up damage control." You could see it in his later interviews. The man was hurt. He even started throwing light jabs at Jadakiss, saying, "I could outwork him in the gym, but not on stage." But that just made things worse. It looked like he was shifting the goalposts, trying to take the heat off the loss. Fans caught it instantly, calling him out left and right. Even the loyal Dipset supporters had to admit it. The LOX cooked them, and Jim's pride was still limping away from the scene. And the wildest part? Styles P didn't just let it fade away, he turned it into content gold. He joked about it, posted clips, and kept that same calm energy that made fans love him even more. The man turned an L into entertainment history. After the chaos, Styles P went on his own podcast and had the whole internet cracking up. He laughed about how Jim Jones was still trying to twist the story, still trying to make excuses. Styles said, "Ain't no spinning the truth, bro. You got cooked. It's okay. Take your L and move on." The way he said it, calm, cool, and just a little amused, made it sting even more. Then he threw in that now legendary line, "Harlem had Prada, we had pressure." That one quote took over social media instantly. Fans were reposting, remixing, and turning it into memes within hours. Meanwhile, Jadakiss was playing a whole different game. While Jim was still out here explaining himself, Jada was moving like a boss, performing nonstop, dropping killer freestyles, and selling out shows across the country. That's how you really know who won, when one man's still defending his loss while the other's getting paid off victory laps. And it didn't stop there. Other rappers started chiming in too. Mano hopped on live and said, "Yo, I told Jim, the LOX different. That's workout rap versus war rap." Even Fat Joe jumped in during an interview, laughing and calling Jadakiss the General of New York. Everywhere Jim turned, someone was reminding him of that moment. There was no escaping it. It became part of his whole story. Like no matter what he did, that L followed him everywhere. And the sad part? Deep down, Jim wanted that same kind of respect Jadakiss and Styles P had. He didn't just want to be known as the flashy hustler or the hype man. He wanted to be seen as a real MC, one with bars and legacy. But when you get dismantled live in front of millions, it's hard to rebuild that image. You can drop 10 mixtapes, post all the motivational quotes you want, but fans remember that mic check forever. Even months later, Jim was still out here trying to rewrite the story, while the LOX just kept living their win. Jim Jones kept pushing his version of the story, saying Dipset had the bigger catalog, hinting at a possible rematch, and even throwing shade by claiming the LOX rehearsed too much. But fans weren't having it. Preparation isn't weakness, it's part of greatness. The LOX came locked in, focused, and ready to perform, while Dipset came ready to pose. That's the real difference. Craftsmanship versus comfort, hunger versus hype. Every few months, those Verzuz clips pop back up online, and the comments light up like it's brand new. Younger fans who weren't even around during Dipset's prime are now calling Jadakiss and Styles P legends, while clowning Jim all over again. That's how deep this L went. It's timeless. The embarrassment crossed generations. And honestly, there's something poetic about it. Jim spent years trying to prove he's the heart of New York, the definition of Harlem pride, but it was two veterans from Yonkers who reminded the whole world what real New York rap looks and sounds like. No gimmicks, no flash, just raw bars and respect for the craft. At the end of the day, what happened between Jim Jones and the LOX wasn't just some rap beef, it was a straight-up culture check. Jadakiss and Styles P didn't just humble one man, they humbled a whole mentality that's been sneaking into hip-hop for years. That mindset that says fashion, followers, and fake hype matter more than bars, breath control, and discipline. Because when Jadakiss looked at Dipset mid-performance and said, "Y'all rapping over your own vocals," he wasn't just roasting them, he was calling out an entire generation that stopped taking the art seriously. That moment hit harder than any diss track. It was the truth, live and unfiltered. That's exactly why fans still love that moment so much. It felt like old New York finally stood up and smacked new New York awake. And the face of that wake-up call? Jim Jones himself. After that, you could tell he started moving differently. The whole energy shifted. He focused more on business, stepped away from that tough guy image, and started trying to rebrand himself as a grown man in hip-hop. But no matter how much he evolved, that shadow from that night still follows him everywhere. Every time Jim tries to talk slick or act like he's untouchable, people immediately bring up the LOX. It's like that one night hit the reset button on his entire reputation. Jadakiss and Styles P didn't plan to destroy him. They just did what real artists do. They exposed the truth. And in hip-hop, truth hits harder than any diss track ever could. You can't fake chemistry, you can't fake breath control, and you definitely can't fake legacy. That's what separates the icons from the imitators. The LOX walked out of that Verzuz, not just as winners, but as certified legends. Not because of nostalgia, not because of age, but because they reminded the whole world what authenticity in hip-hop really sounds like. Jim Jones, on the other hand, walked away from that night with a hard truth. Fame don't equal respect. You can have the money, the designer fits, the flashy cars, and all the cameras in your face. But if you don't master your craft, the real ones will always call you out. Yeah, the disrespect was real, but so was the lesson. Jadakiss and Styles P didn't just clown Jim, they reminded the culture that no matter how far the game evolves, bars still matter. That Verzuz wasn't about humiliation, it was about correction. The LOX didn't just win a battle, they brought balance back to the game in an era drowning in filters, fake flexing, and overhyped images. Two seasoned vets walked in and showed everyone that real skill never dies. And Jim Jones, he'll forever be part of that story. The man who got humbled on the mic by two of the greatest to ever do it. It's wild how one moment can define a career, and even wilder how it keeps echoing years later. Every time those clips resurface, fans remember exactly why that night changed hip-hop forever. So what do you think? Did the LOX teach the whole culture a lesson that night, or do you think Dipset deserves a second shot at redemption? Drop your thoughts in the comments, hit that like button, share this with your people, and don't forget to subscribe for more deep dives into the real stories behind the music. See you on the next one.